Chapter 11. Zoe Makes a Friend. On Wednesday, Zoe skipped off the bus and ran into Auntie's arms. She was breathless with excitement. "Auntie, I think I made a friend." "That's great, Zoe. What's she like?" "It's the new girl," she said. "Her name is Colleen, and you were right. She's really nice. And she told me right away she wanted to be my friend because she's new and doesn't have any other friends. I told her I didn't have any friends either, and she said she was glad because she was worried about being in a new school because making friends is hard for her. Can you believe it? She's just like me, except she likes to talk, like all the time. I kind of like it though, because she even likes to sit with me at lunchtime so we can keep talking." "What does she like to talk about?" "You won't believe this, Auntie. Bees and flowers, but mostly bees. She's obsessed with them. She has them on her lunchbox and has bee stickers on her notebook, and she even wore socks with bees on them. She says when she grows up, she's going to have a big garden for bees. She likes to talk about the kinds of flowers she's going to grow." She stopped and took a breath. "It sounds like you two must have a lot to talk about." Zoe nodded. "I hadn't thought about it, but I guess we do. I've been telling her all about the garden and the seeds we've been planting." "What a great way to become friends with someone." "Yeah," said Zoe. "I guess maybe we are becoming friends." They finished their snack and headed to the garden to do some weeding. Zoe's heart was full of joy from her day at school with her new friend. The row of bright orange calendula flowers buzzing with pollinators only added to her joy. She stopped to touch one of the daisy-shaped flowers and was surprised when an orange petal stuck to her finger. Auntie handed Zoe a small plastic bucket. "This variety of calendula is called resina, for that sticky resin on their flower petals, which is really good for the skin. If we collect flowers and steep them in olive oil, we can make a nice healing salve." Zoe's bucket filled quickly. "Auntie, I'm trying to remember. Did these plants come from those weird little horseshoe-shaped seeds?" "Yep." Auntie swept her arm down the length of the brilliant orange row. "It's hard to believe those weird seeds turned into this." Last spring, Auntie had advised Zoe, "When it comes to planting for pollinators, plant a feast, not a snack. Bees need more than a few flowers to feed on to make the energy cost worth the trip to your garden. Putting in only one or two attractive plants is like inviting someone to dinner and only serving them a single cracker." Zoe had taken her advice to heart and had planted an entire quart jar of seeds. The bright orange row was definitely a feast. She reached to pick another sticky blossom and saw the brown skeleton of an old flower covered with the little shapes that reminded her of claws. She reached out to touch it, and the brown flower crumbled into her hand, leaving a pile of the same horseshoe shapes she remembered from planting in the spring. Looking up, she asked, "Seeds?" "Seeds," Auntie confirmed. "And since these plants are going to seed, we have another job to do, and one more rule of seed saving for your journal. Let's see if you can figure this one out on your own. We'll walk down the row and see what we can see." Zoe was entranced by the insects she saw gathered on the bright orange calendula flowers. She saw tiny hoverflies and little wasps. She saw fat bumblebees and a honeybee from a neighboring farm. A cluster of small, pale yellow flowers caught her eye amidst the orange sea of calendula flowers. "Auntie, what are these yellow flowers doing here?" Auntie stopped walking and said nothing, but smiled and started humming one of her little tunes, giving Zoe time to think. Zoe tapped her head. "Think, think." She stopped and turned to Auntie, grinning. "It's a variation, isn't it?" Auntie nodded. "It is. but it's not a variation that we want to keep. That yellow is what we call an off type. Notice how it looks completely different from the rest of the population. Guess what I'm going to do with it? Zoe looked down at the strange yellow off type and shrugged. Auntie didn't hesitate. She reached down and pulled the entire plant up, roots and all. Zoe was horrified. "No seeds for this one," said Auntie cheerfully, "and I have a new vocabulary word for your journal. Roguing. It's another form of selection we do once a plant is grown. We only want the best plants to share pollen and make seeds, so we have to remove the off types before they go to seed, or else we'll see that yellow again in future plants." Zoe took out her journal and wrote, "Roguing. Removing off type plants before they go to seed." When Zoe spotted the next yellow version of the bright orange calendula, she pounced on it and ripped it out with a flourish. "Begone, off type," she said dramatically. Auntie laughed and pulled another pale yellow plant from her side of the row. They were lost in their own thoughts as they continued to walk the row. This time it was Zoe who broke the silence. "Did I tell you about her collection?" "Whose collection?" "Colleen's, my new friend from school. She collects seed catalogs." "Really? What a fun thing to collect." Auntie had her own pile on the shelf in the kitchen. "Why seed catalogs?" "Colleen wants to have her own garden someday. She reads seed catalogs instead of comic books. She loves them because they teach her about flowers and they help her imagine what her garden will look like someday." Zoe stopped for a moment to pull another yellow flower off type from the center of the flower bed. "She lives in an apartment, so she can't have a garden, but she really wants one. She made me promise to tell her about everything we do in the garden today. It's really fun because she makes me want to remember things from my journal. She knows an awful lot about flowers, Auntie. Sometimes she sounds like you when she talks all about plant science and stuff." "Colleen sounds like my kind of friend," said Auntie. "You would like her, and, well, I, stammered Zoe. "I was wondering if she could maybe come here with me sometime. She really wants to meet you, and she really wants to see the garden." Auntie smiled. "Why, of course she can come, Zoe, anytime. I'll talk to your mom, and we'll set it up with Colleen's mom." Zoe clapped her hands and spun around. "I am so excited. She's going to love this place."